One of the most important skills that you need in order to unlock true self-mastery at a really high level is networking. If you want to be a successful person, you're going to want to collaborate with other successful people, and this is such an important skill. Honestly, from the age of 18, having gone out and been networking in business events with no business experience, to the point where I then was gaining business experience and going back into these networks and then expanding my network, and even expanding my network into different industries. Like I went from business into entertainment. Now I know that entertainment is business, but still, like, entertainers. Like, you can network with literally anybody. See that quote, you're only ever 5 people away from someone? That's actually so true. Like, Kim Calvert, my mentor, the way I met her was absolute miraculous networking capabilities on my end. I can't even lie. And there's another person who I can't talk about yet, but I have been able to network my way to even higher levels. Being able to network with people is not even just about having good conversation, okay? Because you'll hear all the time, it's not what you know, it's who you know. But I actually would dare say that's not enough. You have to add an extra step onto that. It's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's who you are that matters, okay? And you could be on paper a nobody, but you're actually not a nobody. You are the only version of you in this world, okay? You're one of a kind. So take that confidence into a room full of people where you want to be in rooms. By the way, you know you're networking properly if you're around people who outperform you. Don't be scared of that. Do not be afraid of that. And I'm actually so proud of myself for not ever being intimidated by that. I think it's because I love learning, okay? I think it's because I love to ask questions. And not everybody does love that. I understand it. A lot of people are afraid of public speaking. I read somewhere that it's the second most inherent fear after the fear of spiders. But I actually am going to say to you, be so brave. Go and ask. And you can start in the most simple ways. If you're only starting to build a network, if you're only at the beginning of that, and you truly don't like talking to people because you don't know what to say, and maybe you are unsure of yourself at this point, go and buy a coffee and speak to the barista. Anytime that you are in an interpersonal experience, like if you're getting a taxi, or even if you're speaking to like security at the airport or something, actually try and have a conversation. Do yourself a favor and just push yourself to say one more sentence than is required. Somebody said that, it might have been Zidane, about adding another sentence. It might not have been though. But actually do that, okay? Set yourself a challenge to make the cashier smile. To make the person on the other side of the table be like, oh, you want to brighten people's day up, okay? If you're able to do that, and if you're able to, even whenever you're around your friends or around your family, set yourself a challenge to make them smile. Not by making a dick out of yourself, but by just genuinely being interested enough or being attentive enough to give a valuable response to something they say, okay? And I'm not talking about going up to the cashier and saying, well, how's the weather? No. And I don't mean asking your taxi driver, is it busy tonight? Not that. Okay, be interesting. Be an interesting, attentive person. This is so important for your inner magnetism as a human being. See if you can be attentive enough to say something of value to another human being. Say, for instance, you meet a cashier, ask them a valuable question. Keep it simple. How is your day going? Okay, that might seem really too simple to begin with. But if you can ask the cashier, how is your day going? Then you are also then able to respond to whatever they say. Now, people most likely are going to give you small talk answers, and they'll be like, oh, it's going good. How about you? Or, oh, I can't wait to go home. Or, oh, it's a long day. You know, all those bullshit small talk things. Ask them a question like, why is that? Or how so? But don't be a weirdo about it. Like, don't be super invasive. If somebody says, oh, I can't wait to go home, just say, that's amazing. What have you got planned? Or if somebody says, oh my God, my day is actually going so well, say, sensational. What's been the best moment so far? You know, ask interesting questions that are actually relevant to the conversation, that can make the conversation expand ever so slightly. And it can be a short exchange, just don't let it be small talk. You want to raise your personal standards so high that people remember you. Okay, this is why I'm saying leave a smile on people's faces. This is going to help you establish confidence so that whenever you go out and network in business environments and with people who have a net worth that far supersedes your own, that you don't crumble. Okay, you want to create real relationships with people. This is such a skill that, dare I say, will never not be required. Maybe when you're the billionaire, you might not need it, but you still will want to implement it because you'll be meeting other important, influential people in power, okay? So no matter what, this is going to matter the whole way throughout your life. Ask valuable questions that give people the opportunity to give you more than a small talk answer. Second of all, be happy, okay? Now, I'm not saying grin from cheek to cheek and, you know, never let your face relax. No, just have a spirit and an energy of, I'm actually happy to be talking to you right now. Like, I'm interested and I'm happy to hear your answer. Don't let people feel like a burden to you in a networking scenario. Actually, don't let people feel like a burden to you ever, if you can help it. But definitely whenever you're networking, you want people to feel like you're happy to be in their presence, because in that moment, they're the most important person, okay? So if you can hold yourself in that energy, now you can't necessarily see that energy, but you will feel it, okay? Be happy to be speaking to these people. Then third, offer a piece of information about yourself if it's required. Because if you answer people's questions, then subconsciously there's like a dark psychology trick where they then feel invested in you because you've answered a question that they had, so now they know something. So if you build on that, they'll be like, oh yeah, no, I'm a part of that journey because I found out the answer to that. Okay, and they'll be happy to talk to you because they'll want to match your rapport. You'll notice that good vibes will always trump bad vibes. It's easier to lock into a bad vibe, but people truly want that expansion and fuller expression of themselves. So positivity is always going to trump negativity. And if you are setting the standard of saying, and this is a silent game, this is why it's your integrity so important. But if you're able to stand there and be like, I am happy to be speaking to you right now, that person is going to want to match you subconsciously because you're a more powerful person. Your energy's in a stronger place than their wishy-washy, whatever the hell's going on behind the till. Just know that, okay? They might not present as wanting to be on your vibe, but they will. Trust me, they will. The more successful people that you circulate around, you will see this more and more clearly. The strongest energy in the room always wins. You will usually know the most powerful person because they say the least. These are the people that you want to listen to when they talk. Also, they're the people that when they do talk, you listen so attentively that you're then able to approach them with a valuable question or a valuable insight. And it needs to be true to you. It has to be true to who you are. Like, I never went up to a business person and asked them a bullshit question with a bullshit story attached to it. Because people can sense falseness, not consciously, but subconsciously they do feel it, and they'll not care to entertain you, if that makes sense. Like, people can sense false vibes very easily. I don't think that it's something we give ourselves enough credit for. We are intuitive beings. All human beings are intuitive. Yes, it might be a stereotype that women are more intuitive than men, but at the end of the day, we all have the same capacity to develop that skill. So no matter who you are, do not think that you cannot do this. Everybody can. Another thing that you're going to want to do is look people in the eye when they talk to you. Do not be afraid to acknowledge someone properly. Okay, if you're afraid to acknowledge someone by looking them in the eye, they're going to feel that from you and they're not going to want you in their network. Okay, successful, confident people want to be around other successful, confident people, so be that person. Even if you have nothing to offer in that moment, because when you have no business experience and you have no people in your current network, what you have to offer is your energy. That's how I started working with Kim. Now, I did go and get business experience and I did go and connect with people that were relevant, but what's going to sell you is your energy. Like, Kim turned around and told me whenever she saw me, she was like, Rachel, it is not easy to get on this team, and it really isn't, because a lot of people want to work with Kim. The people Kim works with are her family. That's her inner circle. And so to get into the inner circle, you can't just walk in, right? Now, I approached Kim without even knowing this, okay? I went in so locked in on my desire. I said, I am going to work with Kim Calvert. Rachel, it is not easy to get into this team, but you got in easily. She said she was sold on me within the first 3 seconds of me approaching her. There was only one thing that came into play for that, and it was my energy. She said the way I spoke, she was sold. Because Kim's an intuitive reader, an expert salesperson. So whenever she was able to witness my energy in real life, done. Now, she still had me do a call with herself, a call with the COO, and another call before I got in. But that's so fair. I was willing to do that. That was the test of persistence. So you can attract opportunities so much easier than what you think. Remember that you don't know what you don't know. And remember that everything you seek is also seeking you. There's a reason you feel a desire. When you have desires in your life, there are things that you want to create, there are things that you want to acquire. There's a reason for that. Because in another dimension somewhere, whatever way you want to describe this, it wouldn't be in your mind if it wasn't possible to be achieved by you. When you approach someone, you don't know everything that's going on in their mind. You don't know if they're looking for the young person to step in. You don't know if they're actually, really wanting a conversation that goes beyond what was your earnings this quarter, what did you do this quarter, blah, 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 all of that. You do not know. So don't have any preconceptions whenever you're in a networking environment. Do not preconceive anything. Assume one thing only, and that's who I am is going to benefit this person. And that is how you operate. Okay? That's the only way you operate, is I am whatever. I am going to be of value in this conversation. That is the only thing I want you to assume. I am of value in this conversation. And then go in and have a conversation with somebody. You would be so surprised at the amount of high net worth individuals that all they want is real, authentic, truly driven, hungry people. And do you know who's the best category for that? No disrespect to any other age bracket. It's people in their 20s. Really high net worth people want to collaborate with hungry, driven, ambitious young people. Because like it or not, young people are the future. They always will be. People who are in primary school right now, elementary school, I don't know what country you're from, people who are there, we're going to want to work with them. There is something so stimulating about, and even if you're in your 30s or your 40s, you can still reignite your own enthusiasm, okay, and your passion and your hunger and your drive. These are things that you can develop at will if you lock into your desire and to the outcome of your desire, okay? When you are networking and when you are in that environment, you don't know anything, okay? That's a fact-finding exercise. And it's not only a fact-finding exercise, but it's like an Easter egg hunt, okay? There are little Easter eggs everywhere, and they're for you to drop in. You can drop these Easter eggs in conversations with people, and you can do that by asking great questions, you can do that by giving really valuable insights, or you can do that by being just honestly so on lock with your purpose that whatever you say is going to benefit that person. Because people are walking around with silent questions everywhere. You go into a parking lot, if you are parking your car, I guarantee you every single person that you see sitting in their car has a question that they're not prepared to ask out loud. And see, by you just giving a valuable piece of insight that because you're so locked in, that could be the answer that they were looking for. I cannot tell you how many times that has happened to me where I have just happened to say something out loud that I was thinking and people have gone, oh my God, I needed to hear that today. Thank you so much. You have no idea. That was what I was waiting to hear. Genuinely, that happens to me regularly. And you can do that too. That makes you a valuable person in front of others. Okay? Because you're not bullshitting. You're just being your real, true, authentic self who is in the pursuit of the goal. Also recognize when you do have these conversations and you start asking better questions to people, they might give you answers to your silent questions that you're not prepared to ask out loud. So just stay tuned in, okay? You have to dial down the pride, you have to dial down the ego, you have to dial down false humility as well. People don't really like to talk about that. People are very quick to say, you need to get your ego in check, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that, blah, 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 blah. Don't come off as a narcissist. Don't come off as someone with fake humility. See if you actually are great at something. See if you actually are an expert in your field. Do not deny the compliments people give you. This is a huge sign of strength of character, okay? See whenever you are secure enough within yourself to say thank you, that repositions you in a room. No matter what age you are, no matter what experience you have, no matter what your goals are, no matter what's going on. See when someone pays you a compliment, do not reject it. I've done it, we've all done it. You know, people will go, oh my God, you look amazing. And you go, oh no, no, no. And you verbally reject the compliment to come off as humble. But you know what? You were confident enough that you walked out the door and you walked into that room wearing whatever you were wearing. So if somebody's going to compliment it, just say thanks. Okay? Just say thanks. You don't have to, you know, butter yourself up or blow your own trumpet. You don't have to do those things. But equally, don't be the person that goes, oh, you saw that thing that I did? Oh, no, that was just bleep, bleep. I don't know if it's just people in Northern Ireland that do that, but fuck me. Get that out of your narrative. When someone pays you a compliment, you say, thank you. Please know that. Even if you're 18 years old and you're, you know, doing this for the first time, maybe you're 17, maybe you're 16, I don't know. But as soon as you go into a networking environment, people will love to see a young person with no experience there. I remember there was a networking meeting that I went to at 6 a.m. one morning with my ex-boyfriend's mum, and I was there as proxy for one of the other members. And you got the opportunity to stand up, and it was like a U-shaped round table thing. And I stood up and I told them all, I was like, I can't remember if I was 18 or 19. I was like, I'm 19 years old. And, you know, whenever I'm a successful entrepreneur, like all of you guys, I hope to do X, Y, Z. And everybody in the room laughed, like a room full of adults that all had their own businesses. And I just wanted to be in the room. People love that. Even if you don't have anything to offer, who you are is going to make you stand out, okay? So be a person that knows themselves, knows what they're going after. That's really the only requirements. When you're networking, you need to know yourself, okay? Self-improvement is an absolute fundamental essential. Do not cheap out on it. Invest in your mindset, invest in all these things. And if you want to invest in your mindset, genuinely reach out to me and I will be able to help you with free resources, paid resources, and actual proper help. Get a firm stand on who you are and get a super firm stand on where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, you have no purpose networking. That's the only thing I would say. You don't need experience, you don't need money, you don't need to be a business owner, you just need to know what you want. Because then when you're in conversations with somebody who far supersedes your net worth, and they ask you, well, what is it that you want to do? When you're then able to deliver that with confidence, that person then has the opportunity to say, okay, I'll help you. But see if you don't know what you want and you say, oh, I don't know, I'm just here for the shits and the giggles. You've given that person no opportunity to help you. Don't do that, okay? If you're going to start networking, know who you are and know what you're about. That is it. Those are the most fundamental keys. I will probably make a better video about this at a later date, but for now, I think that covers a lot. Just know your energy. People can feel your energy more than they hear what you say. So be genuinely happy to see people. Look them in the eye. Ask genuine conversations. Add the extra sentence on whenever you're dealing with, you know, easy interactions like at the cashier or with a barista. Do the easy things. Speak to your waiter just for 2 seconds longer. You will notice yourself stand taller, okay? And then the more times that you start networking, the more people start to recognize your face, the more they remember you, the more they remember how you made them feel, and the more likely they are to then introduce you to more people and beyond, until you realize that you have a network that has, you know, more zeros than you can count on 2 hands, okay? So you've got this. know who you are, know where you're going. That's all you need. Go out and make shit happen. Go meet people, introduce yourself, ask questions, be interested, listen, and build your network.